Hello, friends. Imagine stepping into a grand cathedral, its vast ceiling painted with swirling clouds and radiant saints. Statues of angels seem to descend from above, bathed in golden light. The music of a choir echoes through the halls, filling the space with an almost divine presence. This is not just a place of worship, it is a spectacle, a masterpiece designed to awe and inspire. This is the power of Counter-Reformation art. By the mid-16th century, the Protestant Reformation had shaken the Catholic Church to its core. Martin Luther's challenge had spread across Europe, with new Protestant churches forming and millions abandoning Catholicism. The Catholic Church realized it had to act, not just to reform itself, but to win back hearts and minds. Thus began the Counter-Reformation, a movement aimed at reviving Catholic authority through renewed faith, stricter discipline, and, most importantly, persuasion. One of the most effective tools of persuasion? Art. The Church knew that doctrine and debate could only go so far. To truly move people, to rekindle faith in their hearts, they needed something more powerful, something that could speak to the soul. And so they turned to artists, commissioning works that would dazzle the senses and stir deep emotions. This marked the birth of the Baroque style, dramatic, intense, and utterly captivating. Unlike the balanced, harmonious art of the early Renaissance, Baroque art was all about movement, contrast, and raw emotion. If a Renaissance painting invited quiet contemplation, a Baroque masterpiece demanded attention. Figures twisted in dynamic poses, light and shadow played in striking contrast, and scenes of religious ecstasy leapt from canvases and ceilings. Take, for example, Caravaggio, one of the most influential painters of this era. His work, The Calling of St. Matthew, doesn't just depict a religious story, it thrusts the viewer into the moment. A beam of light cuts through the darkness, illuminating the surprised face of Matthew as Christ gestures toward him. It's theatrical, almost cinematic, pulling the viewer into the narrative. Then there's Gian Lorenzo Bernini, the sculptor who made marble come alive. His Ecstasy of St. Teresa captures a mystical vision of the saint in a moment of divine rapture. Teresa's face shows both pain and joy, her body seemingly floating as an angel pierces her heart with a golden arrow. It's deeply spiritual, yet undeniably sensual, a perfect example of how Baroque art aimed to overwhelm the senses and ignite passion for the faith. Architecture, too, played a key role. The Catholic Church invested in grand renovations, turning its churches into awe-inspiring theaters of devotion. St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, redesigned by Michelangelo and later completed in the Baroque style, became the ultimate symbol of Catholic strength. Walking through its massive halls with its towering dome and radiant mosaics, one couldn't help but feel the power of the church. Even music became a tool of persuasion. The rich, soaring compositions of composers like Palestrina filled churches, designed to evoke deep emotional responses. Every note, every harmony was carefully crafted to create an atmosphere of divine presence. But this wasn't just an artistic movement, it was a strategic one. The church understood that art was more than decoration. It was a form of propaganda. Every painting, every sculpture, every piece of architecture served a purpose: to remind the faithful of the church's authority and to counter Protestant criticisms. Where Protestants stripped churches of decoration and focused on scripture, the Catholics doubled down, making their spaces grander and more immersive than ever. The Counter-Reformation wasn't just a religious struggle. It was a battle for the soul of Europe, fought with brushes and chisels, with light and shadow, with music and architecture. And in many ways, it worked. Catholicism regained strength in many parts of Europe, and the artistic legacy of this period remains one of the most stunning in history. But while the Church used art to assert its influence, the Renaissance had also created new opportunities for individuals to shape history, including women. In the next episode, we'll meet the remarkable women of the Renaissance, from powerful patrons to talented artists and brilliant writers, who left their own mark on this incredible era. Stay tuned.